Fresh off a bye week and not a damn thing has changed. The offense still continues to struggle. Mistakes still are happening across the board. And the Kansas City Chiefs just do not look like the same Kansas City Chiefs. We'll discuss today what all took place on Monday Night Football and some of the miscues. Are they fixable? With that, let's cut the chit chat and let's have some fun. Man, Chiefs Kingdom, this is gonna be a tough one, but we're gonna dissect it in full. We're gonna go through the good, the bad, and definitely the ugly. But before we do dive into that, I want to thank everyone who continues to support the channel and checked into last night's live stream. It is always a joy and always a good time chit-chatting with everyone and talking Kansas City Chiefs football. But also, I did want to address, you may want to call it two elephants in the room, two things that happened. One, it's minor, and it's with my audio. As I mentioned in the live stream going in, I was testing out a new live stream app, but I did find out that I am able to actually connect my microphone I'm using currently, and hopefully not touching that right now, messed anything up, to my laptop, so that should improve going into the next live stream. And then the second point, on a kind of a bigger picture thing, is I love the community that continues to support the channel. It has been great. It is a smaller community, but we continue to build. But with that being said as well, I want respect, and I want respect within you guys as well. I love the fact that you guys can air out your opinions and have that good opportunity to chat Kansas City football. But where I will draw the line and where I won't tolerate anything is when both fans or people going back and forth start to call each other names. And it's something I missed in the chat yesterday, and I feel really bad. And I'll be the first one to say that I'm gonna hold myself accountable. So I'm gonna hold myself to the next standard on the next live stream, that if this continues to happen and it continues to go in a negative direction, you just won't be a part of the live stream, and I will remove a user who is calling someone names and just projecting negativity towards the stream. It's not good for the fan base. It's not good for the community. I understand projecting on the team, but when you're projecting on someone else, it's just uncalled for, and it won't happen on this live stream. You can find somewhere else to do it. It just won't happen here. So again, I'm sorry if anyone felt uncomfortable on the stream, but we're gonna do and move in the right direction to make sure it just doesn't happen again. And I kind of want to move on a lighter note, but we gotta talk about a shit show game that happened last night. So it's just gonna continue to get more difficult. So just strap up and let's get ready to go. Man, I really don't even know where to begin. Honestly, I don't. Let's just start with the positive, because there's moments in this game where this team looked like the best team in the NFL. And of course, it starts off with the defense. And the defense played out of their mind. They played phenomenal. They continue to raise to the standard. And one guy who you gotta highlight, and there's actually multiple guys you can highlight, which we will do in this, but Trent McDuffie continues to prove each and every week that he is a solidified cornerback in this league. He's a top-notch guy, and he is ready to be the best of the best, if not best. He was all over the field last night. He would have packages where he was getting blitzes, deflections, almost forcing fumbles to where Jalen Hurts recovered miraculously, because honestly, if he didn't have his hand on that, McDuffie gets that, and it's setting up Chiefs for points. And then McDuffie almost set up another interception. What he is doing has been so crazy. It's been so good. I've enjoyed his growth immensely. And then I want to focus in on the other cornerback, who a lot of us may say he had a quiet game. But sometimes when you don't speak of a cornerback a lot, that means they're playing out of their minds as well. And L'Jarius Sneed, he's been the guy who has been traveling with wide receivers, and he traveled with A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown was held to his lowest output on the season with one catch for 8 yards. We got to start really putting respect on L'Jarius Sneed's name, because he is him this year. He has traveled with the best of the best and basically shut everyone up. And it's making my standpoint prove a little brighter from what we discussed last week on why I would love to re-sign the dude and have the legit islands on both sides. But also, then another guy kind of backtracked my idea when Chris Jones played out of his mind as well. He had 3 sacks last night, and he was going up against a superior offensive line. And he was making Jason Kelce look like he was on skates throughout the whole game. And he was playing like the Chris Jones we all have known to come and love. And man, offseason, it's going to be difficult because we're all going to want to keep Chris Jones, L'Jarius Sneed, guys like Drue Tranquill. Willie Gay played out of his mind as well. He was all over the field. This defense, I wish we could keep every single piece because we haven't seen a defense like this in a long time. And it has been so much fun to watch. And one more guy I want to call out on the defensive side of the ball is George Karlaftis. He had a 0-yard sack. It still tallies as a sack, and now he is a career leader with last season him having 6 sacks. This year, he now has 7 sacks with 7 games left to go. He has taken a huge sophomore leap and has been a huge contributor to this defense. And man, it is something you need to see. With Chris Jones being basically doubled and triple teamed, you needed another guy to step up this year, and that has been George Karlaftis, and it's been so much fun to watch. Y'all ready to get into the ugly? You can't avoid it, so we gotta do it. But before we do get into the ugly like that, it wasn't ugly throughout the whole entire game. And I think that's what's most frustrating about this team because they continue to drive the ball down the field. They continue to pick up yards, and even at times, they continue to look like the Kansas City Chiefs offense we have all known to come and love. But man, when they look bad, they look bad. But to kick off the game, honestly, this game was a complete replica of the game in Germany when the Chiefs took on the Miami Dolphins. The only thing that happened, this time they're holding the L. But the offense started off quick. They looked great. They were moving up and down the field and ended it off with a touchdown. And then went quiet again. And then they scored a touchdown to end the half. And then the defense got them the ball back to get a field goal and go up 17-7. You're up by 10 points. Kind of a replica, vice versa, of what happened in the Super Bowl last year to where now the Eagles come back and they won it. And then when the Chiefs go into the second half, it got ugly. It got ugly quick. But a few things I want to highlight for the offense because it, like I mentioned, it wasn't all terrible. But when it got bad, it got bad. And one thing I really, really want to highlight is Coach Reid for the first half focused on Isaiah Pacheco, and that grown man delivered. He had 89 rush yards on the night. And in the first half, that's where the majority of them came. The thing that frustrates me the most, with the lead, we abandoned him. And I do not know why. This was the perfect game and setup for Isaiah Pacheco to eclipse 100 yards, and Reid got into his Coach Reid ways, and that was so disappointing. And another guy I like to see, even though we mostly saw him on special teams, but it was good to see Kadarius Toney back on the field in more of a bigger role too, because he is looking healthy. He's back to himself. He looks like a guy who has no knees again and is limber and moving all over the field. And if this offense is going to find any life, he's going to be a big factor of it. And we're going to discuss the wide receivers because, boy, do we ever need to do that. And is that where I'm capping off with my positives for the offense? Hold up. Pacheco, Kadarius Toney. I can't really talk much about Rashee Rice, guys. I want to. I really want to. He had some good plays, as usual. But the frustrating part about it, again, is good play taken out. This coaching thing, this rotation, we'll talk about it. I promise. We'll talk about it because we're getting into the bad. So let's just do it. So as we get into the bad, yes, we can't score points in the second half. Yes, we can't turn the ball over. And yes, we are our own worst enemies. But the one most frustrating point about all of this is I was looking for some improvement after the bye week. And as I mentioned, this is now 3 games in a row that in the second half, the Kansas City Chiefs offense has not put up a point. None whatsoever. That is unheard of in the Mahomes era, in the Andy Reid era in specific. And I do not know what's going on. But looking back to the Dolphins game and this game and trying to find improvements from the bye week, which is what Coach Reid is known to do. This is what everyone has been banking on, been saying, oh, wait till after the bye week, second half of the season, this offense is going to come alive. And yes, the Eagles are a tough matchup. But also, the Eagles don't have a great defense. They actually have a really bad secondary to where you would have thought Mahomes and the wide receivers would have got something clicking. Now, I'm not going to put full blame on Mahomes, but Mahomes does deserve some of the blame because he had some bad throws out there. But also, one thing I want to focus on is, Coach Reid mentioned it, they need to cut down penalties in the second half. That didn't happen in this game. There was plenty of penalties, whether it be on the defense or offensive side of the ball. This is still a very undisciplined team. And then you focus on the turnovers. This is why everyone says the Kansas City Chiefs are their own worst enemies, and the Chiefs only beat the Chiefs because they left 14 points on the board where Mahomes lost a pass up, ends up being intercepted. You could say Justin Watson could have fought for it more. You could say Mahomes could have drilled that in there. At the end of the day, it's an interception in the red zone. It's inexcusable. And then Travis Kelce has a fumble in the red zone, which could have set up another 7 points. At that specific time, Kansas City could have literally been up 24-7 in this game and literally put their foot on the Eagles' neck, and this wouldn't even been a game. But again, the Kansas City Chiefs struggle to do that, and that is something that continues to not change. For a team that can execute so well after the bye week, coached by Andy Reid, I didn't see much change. And that's the thing that's most frustrating to me at the point. Yes, I get the turnovers. Yes, I get we can't score points. Yes, I get it's all fixable. But guess what? We're going into week 12. When is it going to be fixed? A lot of people are saying this is a long season. How long does it take for a long season to not be long anymore? I think we all need to face realistic optimism. Let's go that route and say the Kansas City Chiefs offense is what it is. Now, yes, they can cut down on turnovers. Yes, they can improve the offense. But if you're hoping that this offense is going to look like it did 2 years ago, you're in for a long season yourself because it's just not going to happen. Now, can this be a championship caliber, Super Bowl caliber team? This defense will try as hell hard to make it be, but this offense is trying just as hard not to make it be. There needs to be a lot of changes. And what needs to happen first is, I think at the end of the day, it's coaching. It really is. And what I mean by that is these coaches need to get these players disciplined and ready to show up to play a football game, because we want to blame the quarterback, the wide receivers, the offensive line. But at the end of the day, the plays that are being called out there, the rotations that are being sent out there is not working. And right now, I think that's the most frustrating part about it all, is that we have so many different sets and we could just not stick to one thing to garnish momentum and get a good rhythm that, let's change it up. It's just not working. It needs to stop. We need to find something that works and stick with it. And until then, this offense is going to continue to struggle, because honestly, we keep looking at matchups like, look at the Broncos. Look at the Eagles with the shitty secondary. We're not taking advantage of that. So we need to find something or adjust our offense to make it good again. And you already know where I stand. It's run the damn football. Isaiah Pacheco is a stud, and he proved it in this game. And for the fact he had, I believe, 8 carries in the first half, and I believe only 5 in the second half, when you had a 10-point lead, is inexcusable. There was no reason to stop running Isaiah Pacheco, but you did. And I don't understand why. And that is solely on coaching. And it's got to change. I really believe the Kansas City Chiefs need to be a run-first football team. And as I mentioned before, if you focus on the run, that gives time for these wide receivers to develop. And someone's going to click. And that means someone's going to beat their man and someone's going to get open. But if you're just continuing to depend on the pass game, when the pass game is not dependable right now, you're going to be sadly disappointed, and it can be an early departure in the playoff. Yes, am I overreacting? Possibly, but also you got to be aware of the situation that is at hand. We're going into week 12. The long season is almost over with. This offense is what it is. It doesn't have to be terrible, but the Kansas City Chiefs have a lot of work that needs to take place if they want to be a Super Bowl contender. Right now, everyone's upset that, they're not the number 1 seed. They don't deserve to be the number one seed. What they have been showing on the field in the last few weeks, even in games they've been winning, hasn't been number one seed worthy at all. And what would you want? Oh, you get a brag, you get number one seed, and they get bounced in the divisional round? No, I want a legit championship contending team. It's possible, but they need to correct some wrongdoings. And it seems like the fan base knows what's right. I just need the coaching staff to correct it before it gets ugly, because you got a Raiders team that is with new coaching, and Antonio Pierce got these boys fired up. It's not an easy game. Don't sleep on it. Kansas City can easily drop 2 in a row if this offense does not wake up. And it's so sad to see that we literally have been praying and hoping for an elite defense. And we may not even have an elite defense. We may have the number one defense in the league right now. And our offense is throwing it all in the trash. And that really sucks. So I'm hoping to see change. I'm hoping to see corrections. And I also see a lot of people say, oh, this may be a wake-up call for the Kansas City Chiefs. You can miss me with that. If the Denver Bronco game wasn't a wake-up call for the Chiefs, then this sure as hell is not. Because the Broncos, a way worse opponent, someone you've been smacking around for the last 16 straight games, comes in and makes you look stupid, and you can't correct any wrongdoings, and you think a good team gonna do it? Maybe it's a different perspective, but it's one I'm not buying at the moment. Yes, you see, I'm hot, I'm heated, I'm overreacting, but it is what it is, Chiefs Kingdom. It always happens after a loss. I believe there is good around the horizon. I just don't believe it will look the same. I believe wide receivers will start producing, but not at a huge, immense matter to where they are just going to start going off. And if they involve Isaiah Pacheco, that is your weapon right there. You need to use that grown man, and he will get this offense going. But with that, I'm going to check out. Please jump in the comments down below. Let me know some few thoughts you took away from the game last night, and let me know how you're feeling going into week 12. With that, y'all have a good holiday week. I will probably check in a couple times, but if I don't see y'all before then, have a great Thanksgiving and have a good time. Y'all take care. Peace.